Hi, I'm Dr. Vernita, and welcome back to the series of the 13 Principles and How We Treat Each Other. I am Dr. V, known as Dr. Vernita. I want to say welcome and thank you for coming. If you are new, I have a mission and vision in life that is huge, and I want you to be a part of it, which is why I'm sharing these 13 principles with you that I've learned over time. The first part is to raise the vibration of the education profession. That is either K-12, higher ed, or anyone that is involved in training and development. Our education profession needs a boost in life because it is really dying, and we just need some inspiration and motivation and a new path. I would say the second part is to transform the learning experience of 1 billion students and adults. And the last part is to heal the nation through education. And I can't do this alone. So this is why I'm coming to you, sharing this information with you for you to take it, use it, apply it, and see how your life will change. You will hear me say a lot about the professional and personal life because I used to separate them, but I believe that if you have them together, you can be so much more powerful, especially in your professional life. So part two, listen deeply. Now, did you know that silent and listen, they have the exact same letters? I'm pretty sure you have heard of this. It's not like groundbreaking new, but something so simple can be so profound. And I know when we listen, now, if you're a leader, you've learned a lot about the communication skills. Um, but when we listen, sometimes even though we're silent, that's not really listening. That's not the kind of listening I'm talking about. That's not listening deeply. What that means is when you are listening to someone, you're not coming up with a rebuttal in your head at the same time. You're not thinking about what you are about to say, how you're going to react to the person. You're not thinking about your grocery list or things you have to do after work, or if this is your personal life, you're not thinking about the next thing that you have to do. Listening deeply means listening to the meaning behind the words. There's a reason this person is saying what they're saying to you, especially if you're in a meeting that is involving a tough conversation, or even in your personal life, if you are in some sort of conflict, what is that person really saying to you? What is the meaning behind the words? Here's an example from when I was working as an instructional coach of a mathematics department. There was one teacher who was giving me such a hard time. All the time, she wouldn't follow the rules, she wouldn't follow the guidelines. Even when I said, hey, you can do this in your own way, just let me know what you're doing. And finally, I had to ask, like, what is your deal? And she really thought that it wasn't fair that I walked around campus all day like I didn't have anything else to do, not knowing all of the background work it took for me to run a mathematics department of 17 teachers. So after a few conversations, I realized that she felt she wasn't supported. And I didn't know this. I thought I was giving her support the way I knew how to give her support. But for me to learn how not to react and jump to conclusions like, oh, you're just lazy, you don't want to do the work, you don't care about the students, I had to really listen to her and find out where was that coming from. And like I said before, it came from her feeling like she was not supported. So my definition of support was different from her definition of support. And had we not had the conversation, and had I not really listened to the words she was saying, I would have drawn my own conclusion and nothing would have been resolved. So we came up with a solution and everything was fine from that point on. And those are lessons that I had to learn, some of the hard way sometimes, and the easy way sometimes is really to listen to the meaning behind the words. And again, like I said before, in the previous part, what we're putting out is what is going to come back to us. If we're feeling unheard and no one's listening to us, we have to ask ourselves, are we doing that for others? So I want to know, in your personal life and professional life, what are some ways that you have listened deeply and it worked out for you? And then when are those times where you haven't listened deeply and you're like, oh man, this is what they have been trying to tell me all this time, right? So I really want to know that because, again, over this course, over this series of these 13 principles, I want you to take them and see how they apply overall in your personal life and your professional life, especially in the education profession. Well, especially as leaders, when you're in these meetings, because you have to interact with so many people, just see what it feels like to listen deeply to someone, not just being silent, but listening deeply. All right, so I hope you enjoyed that. Remember, that was principle number 2, listen deeply. I am Dr. V, and thank you so much for listening and learning with me. And I will see you next time for part 3.